welcome to another Friday vlog here on my channel. My name is Beatrice Ajayi and I am an artist and a creative, and I love to paint and create in all sorts of manners using different substrates and mediums. And yeah, this channel is to share some of those processes, the thoughts I get to create my artwork, and just to have an insight into some of the fun ways you can start your creativity very simply in your practice. So today I thought I would share some of the artwork I've been doing the past couple of weeks in my sketchbook. I decided last year that I wanted to work more in my sketchbooks. I wanted to be freer, and I also wanted to be able to log the different ideas I get, and hopefully at some point see a kind of train of thought in gathering all the kind of work I like to pursue. I work in a lot of different mediums and I use a lot of different subject matters. I get inspiration from a lot of different things. So I am trying to start logging my process, my thinking, have a collective body of work that I can refer back to, and I can see that I actually had some kind of a thought process in what I was doing. So yeah, welcome. And this is one of those kind of sessions where I'm in my sketchbook and I want to just paint and relax and not think too much about what I'm doing, but just to push the paint around. So there's that whole experience of the textures and the feel of the paint on the page, on the substrate, which is my sketchbook, but also to just feel free to enjoy the process as well, and just to play and something to refer back to. So here, as always, I am just playing around with the colors, trying to see what colors work with each other. And so as I'm going along, I start to think of a narrative, which is what usually happens. Some people always think, how do you get inspiration for work? They go draw a blank as to what to do, and I say it's best to just put your medium onto your substrate and start with the feel of the paint. For example, you don't always have to think of a subject matter. So the feel of the paint, pick your favorite colors and just move them around, even on your canvas or your paper, whatever you're using, and start to blend those colors together. And what I've learned over the years is just keeping certain colors or hues together. So if you have a blue sky, you can mix the different blues and play around with them. So you're going to have areas that are dark, you're going to have areas that are light. If you're going to have like a field, there's different greens, so you put the colors down, you start playing around with the idea of shadow or different shrubs, the different colors within the greens, the different hues within the different greens, and playing around with them. Because when you start to visually place things in a visual way, you start to actually record that with your brain, and you start to understand what it is that you are interested in the more you do that. So again, a new page, and I'm doing the same thing. Another idea I'd gotten was to kind of work on blocks of colors, like having a block of a shape with the different browns here that you can see, reddish brown, more grey black brown, and then using different techniques. So here I really like the way I put those colors together on the page, and then I kind of was trying to show shrubs and things coming off that, and then also the idea of making drips. So I used my little spritzer there and I sprayed some water, so I've got that drip. So it's kind of like I've created a window into a scene from this. And I started drawing with my paintbrush. It wasn't a pencil or anything to decide what the shape of this dragon was going to be, but because I got the idea of a dragon being in its cave, so that's what I'm now going around with. And I know that with acrylic paint, it always takes a lot of layers to get some of the kind of details you might want to get. So I've started off with this really awkwardly placed dragon, and I'm trying to see how I want it to go. And I'm realizing as well that my proportions are not necessarily the way I would have wanted them, but I'm just going along with it. And yeah, so the whole idea of playing around is a really fun thing because you don't stress yourself out so much. So here I'm now thinking, oh, I've got this dragon, and I always have my subject matter of kids being in these scenes. So I've put this little, really tiny girl with her little buns to show that it's a little girl reaching out to this basically ferocious looking dragon. But you know, she has no fear, she doesn't have that concept of fear. So she's basically just putting her hands straight out, and she's really, really surprised, this dragon, because it's thinking that usually people run, they scream, but for her to be reaching out to touch it, it's very surprised at this response, and is trying to probably decide if it should eat her or not. But yeah, so anyway, I'm going along and I'm trying to add to this scene. I'm working on different ideas I'm getting from the story I'm telling myself in my head. And you've got this imposing dragon that I really like the way it is, but I know I want to add more, so I'm kind of building my way to add in more of that. And the sad thing is, as I'm watching this video, I actually liked the kind of very light shadow that was on the top of the head of the dragon. But this is what happens when you look back with your video and with your footage when you're filming your process, which I advise people to do, because you realize the parts you liked and the parts you didn't like and you wish you hadn't changed. And so going forward in future, you remember those things and you decide that you won't do that. So the more you're doing all these processes, then the easier it gets to really know how you approach art and why you create the characters you do in the way that you do. So I'm just really enjoying playing around with the idea of different greens, trying to see how I work my different greens lightly into this piece to show contrast, you know, to show light and to show dark and to show shadow, and yeah. And so I'm playing around with that, and I'm doing things that I'm like, oh, I like that, no, I don't like that. So going in and starting to add some of the background foliage as well. And I do this where when I've painted on something quite a bit with paint and I think I need to let that dry, I end up going off and working on other areas. So as I was saying, playing around in my sketchbook, using different colors, trying to show contrasts like I'm doing here, and really just having fun. And you can build a very quick narrative on your page, working like this, smushing color around, and really, really playing, being loose with the way that you work your art. So yeah, working in these sketchbooks has been really fun, and it's been helping me, like I say, log what I've been doing as well, and getting ideas that I can expand on. Also, just having somewhere that I've collated all these different images that I create, and I can come back and spend the time looking through them, remembering what it was I was inspired to do by that point, and possibly building on them with future work. So where do we get our inspiration? Maybe that's what I should call this vlog for today. Where do we get our inspiration? So starting off as a young artist, I know obviously you get all the kind of stereotypes of what an artist is, and how we possibly focus a lot on portraiture or on landscapes, very subject specific areas that we're told artists focus on. But you can get inspiration from colors of things, from textures. There's so many ways we can get our inspiration, but at some point we can actually inspire ourselves from the work that we do, and we can look back and go, right, okay, I really loved what I created at this point, and I really want to go back and explore that a bit more. So probably over the next couple of weeks, I might be looking at that aspect of inspiration, where we get our inspiration from. For me, it's all storytelling. I love to have stories full of adventures, of brave characters that go out into the world and are very open to discovering what's in their environment, to imagine, to dream. So yeah, so I'm just showing here some more other, artwork that I did over the week, and some of this actually has overlapped from the previous week, because I was trying to do the footage for this Friday vlog and realized I actually had some other stuff that I could have added to this vlog. So I decided to focus more on my painting footage, and I will add the digital work in next week, because I did quite a lot of digital work this week and had a lot of discoveries in my technique that I'm eager to share with you. So yeah, this were some of the other pieces I worked on, and I wanted to keep this Friday vlog short and sweet. You can find more details in my description below about my shops, and please subscribe so that you can see more of the work I have coming up. And I want you to have an amazing day and weekend, and I'll see you in the next vlog, and I'll speak to you soon. So yes, please subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Bye.